One of the things that I think has been most helpful to people, most helpful to me, and then as I've shared it with others, is looking to suffering as a place to experience the transcendent. Not in some masochistic sense of seeking out suffering. We're just talking about the natural human suffering that goes on in a life's journey. You can't get through life without suffering. Life is full of accident, illness, trauma, tragedy, loss of all kind. And so beginning to develop what we call the non-dual mind, where you realize that some of those illnesses and accidents and traumas may hold within them meaning. Meaning may be a synonym for the transcendent. And so once we are empathic with the pain of the trauma and don't try to assuage our own fear and pain by taking somebody out of it by saying, well, it's just part of God's plan. Well, if it's part of God's plan, he's a poor planner, okay? I'm not into that
Well
whole
said, yeah.
magic thinking about this as part of God's plan. Then once we are empathic with the trauma or the loss, and it may take months or years before we can get through that phase of really living the pain, but eventually asking the question, what does this mean? What does this want from me? What is the meaning of this? Because the etymology of the word suffer, ferere in Latin, means to carry. Like transfer is to carry across. Sufferer, suffer, means to carry from beneath. And so there are two viewpoints on an effect. There's the cause and effect, that's called reductionism. So I've had this trauma. What caused it? Then there is the question of the teleology, which is teleos, which means complete or whole. So rather than saying what caused this, ask the question, what does this want? What does this mean? What does this want from me? What is it leading to? That's important maybe to ask both questions, but it's the second question where we find the meaning. And so in a quick etymological amplification, we understand by standing under. So we stand under and carry it till we can understand it. And when we understand it, then we find its meaning and we can integrate it into substance and soul. I suspect that the soul primarily is created in its substance through suffering rather than through success. So I try to help you develop a non-dual mind around your trauma. See what it means and what it can say for you in terms of building substance and soul.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. And the shame that goes along with that, finding the meaning and the meaning making, is actually helps people to move forward.
Yes.
Then, right?
Absolutely.
And with spiritual intelligence, as we talk about, creates more compassion. And there's so much that we do in the world with compassion in terms of developing ourselves. So that understanding and that meaning making builds that compassion. Is
I
what
think
I'm
that's
really
right.
hearing. Yeah.